Hello my fellow freedom builders and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna have yet another chat about Nikola, the company. I made a video the other day and I'm not really trying to spam you with Nikola videos, but I got some questions and comments and the price have gone absolutely berserk, so I thought I would just address these comments and have a look at the price and just have a roundup on this company. As you can see here, I'm saying, was I wrong? What I said in my first video, and I will link to it below if you haven't seen it, what I said in my last video is that I simply cannot see how the Nikola company can be evaluated the way they are. They are, of course, a technology of the future. It is a kind of a lottery ticket, but it was evaluated to around $3.3 billion by very skilled people that have put money into it. But now it is, or at least the other day, it was worth something like $12 billion. And since then, let's just see the day yesterday. Just yesterday, it went up, 103%? That is absolutely insane. And what I addressed in my first video, I'll just say again, there are 23 million Nikola shares floating, meaning that there are 23 million Nikola shares available out there. Here we had a day in mid-May where 43 million shares were traded, which I thought was insane. But yesterday we had 53 million shares in volume, meaning that about 2.5 times of the entire stock float was traded yesterday. So every single stock was traded 2.5 times yesterday. That is absolutely insane. This is not actually what I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about some of the technology, but I'm just saying that what I said the other day was that I was pretty sure that day traders could have a field day in this stock because of the hype, because this is exactly what day traders are looking for. There is this high volume, way above average volume. You can see down here there might only have been a couple of million shares traded, and then all of a sudden 43 million and then 53 million. This is the classic picture of a hype stock, I'm sorry to say. I'm not here to say, and I said that the other day, I don't know if it will go to 200 or 500 or 1,000. I'm just saying that there's no reason in the valuation here, because at the price of 73, we are talking about a valuation here for, let's say, about $25 billion. $25 billion in valuation for a company that has not yet put a product on the street. But again, this is not my main topic here today. My main topic, except from this crazy, absolutely crazy picture here, my main topic here today is technology. Because I got some comments, a couple of mails and personal messages, very nice messages saying, Hans, you forgot to talk about their new technology, their new battery technology. Because, and I know this is a Duracell battery and a battery in a truck doesn't look anywhere like this, but this was just a picture I could find, and I could find no picture of truck batteries. So I think you get the picture here. As I said in my last video, Nikola are producing two types of truck. They are producing hydrogen trucks, meaning they're not really producing them yet, but they will in some years. And then they are producing their BEVs, their battery electrical vehicles. And in a truck, when you put a battery in it, it needs to be a huge battery. And that is why they are talking about that for the short hauls, for trucks that are only going maybe 100 miles or 200 miles, then they will sell the battery technology trucks to these. And then for the long hauls, many 100 miles, they will sell the hydrogen trucks for that purposes. Fair enough. Now the problem with batteries, and we can see that in Tesla, we can see it in the Tesla truck, and of course also in the Nikola truck, is that the battery will take up a lot of place in a truck like this. And if we could bring the battery size down, the energy density in the battery could go up, the price could go down, and we could actually put a battery into a BEV from Nikola that could take it a lot farther on one charge and be a lot less expensive. So that is obviously, or apparently, what Nikola has done. The problem is, let me just see here. I have some news articles here in November last year, 2019. A lot of news articles came out. Hydrogen truck maker Nikola claims it has breakthrough battery tech and doesn't care if you're skeptical. Now, they might have. I shouldn't be the one to say that they don't. I absolutely have no idea. But I'm just saying here, there are a couple of topics here, a couple of points that makes me a bit mystified, might be the right word. If we read here, we can see that Nikola Motors, the Phoenix-based startup, blah, 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 new type of battery cell with double the energy density, only 40% of the weight and half the cost of a current lithium-ion battery. Now, lithium-ion is the stuff that comes into most electrical vehicles today, among Tesla, of course. And yeah, if they can double the energy density here with only 40% of the weight and half the cost, then I would say that the price we're looking at with Nikola here might actually just be justified, because then they would be the leader of this electrical vehicle industry. They would simply wipe out all other competition. That's how simple it is. So what they're saying here is actually that they can do a lot better than anyone else. You can see here it could boost range for current electrical passenger cars from 300 miles per charge to as much as 600 miles per charge, with little or no increase to battery size and weight. Now that is interesting, and if that is true, then I will be the buyer of an electrical vehicle soon. I live in Denmark. It is cold most of the year. These promised 300 miles, 400 miles, some of them are promising. On a frosty day, it simply doesn't add up. So I don't want a car where I can only go for a couple of 100 miles on a single charge. But if we can get up to 600 miles on one charge, wow, Nikola, I am rooting for you here. There are a couple of problems, however. This is an article, it is in Forbes, and every single of these articles are using this word, claims, because the only information we have about this battery come from this guy here, the founder, Trevor Milton. We don't have any other information. Let's just see here. This was from the mid-November. This was also, that's 5 days later. Nikola's Motor bombshell battery claim irks experts who think its secret might lie in sulfur. All right, so this is a bit of a more technical thing, and I will link to all of these below, also to the YouTube videos I'm gonna show you in a second. But this is about an expert talking about the energy density and talking about some of the stuff that they may use if they actually have a battery that can do what they say. Then he's saying that, well, it might be sulfur, and if you're a bit into the technical part, you can read this article as well. What do we have here? We have from, let's see, what is that? That's also in November. This month, Nikola acquired a battery, this is in November, and it seems like they have developed it. Some of the articles says that they have developed it themselves. And then in other articles, they say that they have found some professors and stuff. I think he says in one interview, professors and stuff that was working on this, and they were simply buying this research team, apparently. In November, Nikola acquired a battery engineering team of 15 PhDs and 5 team members with master degrees to help push the breakthrough past pre-production and into a scalable manufacturing model. So in this sentence, it sounds like they already have the technology, they're developing it themselves, but they are just hiring these PhDs and master degree members to help it scale it up. So it's different from interview to interview and from article to article. Sometimes it sounds like they're doing it all themselves. Sometimes it sounds like they have bought a team of engineers and researchers. And why do you need to say that they are PhDs and people with master degrees? Why not just say researchers? It sounds like you're trying to boost something up here. This, should I say, is right about the time where they were trying to get funding for $1 billion, where, as I mentioned in my first video, where they didn't get the funding and they had to go out and make this other deal with the Vector IQ thing that were evaluating them to just about $3 billion. Okay, another article here. Again, claims. Nikola Motors claimed to have found an alternative EV option. This is from January, so this is a bit further on. He's explaining that it is an alternative to the lithium-ion batteries. So this is a bit more of the same. We do have one here. That's from December. And they get a bit more into the specific. But again, Nikola claims vehicles could travel 800 miles between chargers and then quickly recharge. Now that would be a game changer. As I said, if that is true, that would be a game changer. That would be they would be leaving their competitors way behind in the dust. They are also claiming the battery pack could be downsized to add an additional 500 pounds of cargo. Now, when you're selling trucks, you want as much cargo as possible into the truck, because the buyer of this truck, he or she wants to get as much payload into this truck as possible. And of course, if a lot of the cargo room is filled with batteries, you're missing a lot of earnings potential. So an additional 5,000 pounds of cargo, amazing. The batteries would weigh 40% less than a lithium-ion cell, hold as much energy. The pricing would come down 50%, and that sounds nice. Which, with the best of today's batteries believed to be in the $100 to $120 range per kilowatt hour, that would mean that they would go down to $50 or $60 per kilowatt hours. And here's an interesting thing. They are also saying that they can make 2,000 cycles or 2,000 charges. Now, some of the other really large companies that are spending a huge effort, amount of time, amount of money into this are, for instance, Toyota. There's Mercedes Daimler. It is IBM that have teamed up with, I think they're teaming up with Mercedes Daimler here actually, putting all their computer power and artificial intelligence, you name it, into this corporation. They have put billions of dollars into this. Of course, there's Tesla, there's Samsung, and they are all working day and night to find out the best battery. And what they have found out is, or what they can do right now in their research lab, they are nowhere near being able to do it on a scale where they can go out and sell it. What they can do is they can do 350 kilowatt hours on 350 cycles, maybe. So they normally, a normal battery will do around 250 kilowatt hours. And in the labs right now, in a very small scale, the researchers from the largest universities in the world, teaming up with the largest companies in the world, with billions and billions of dollars to spend on this, they have come out maybe with 350 kilowatt hours with 350 charges before the battery is worn out. Now, what Nikola says is that they have a 500 kilowatt hours, meaning double the energy density and capabilities of a normal battery today, with 2,000 cycles. So it can be recharged 2,000 times. And they have it ready for sale. They have it ready for commercial use. That is what we pretty much hear right now in the latest news stories. I think I have one of the latest here. Now this one is also from November. All right. I think I have one from March also. I'll put that in the link below. The thing that puzzles me a bit here is that when I read their investor presentation from March 2020, and I read it 2 or 3 times through to make sure I didn't miss anything. I used it in my video the other day, and I'll link to it below here as well. When I read through this, I can see nothing about this new battery. They're not even, I know that this is an investor presentation, so of course this is what they are pretty sure of, you could expect. But then again, as I mentioned the other day in this presentation, they are putting out expectations 5 years into the future and comparing them to Tesla and other companies right now. So they are already putting expectations out in the future. You could, if you want to get investors in, it would be, I think it would be obvious to take this new battery technology into the picture and say, this is our history. And then they're talking about the future. What do we expect? And they don't. Look here. Technology portfolio addresses complementary use cases. Sorry. And we have the hydrogen electric here, 500 to 750 miles, the long haul. Then they have the 100% battery electric. They have battery charging time, several hours. That's another thing. They say that this new battery have like 15 or 20 minutes charging time. And they are saying here 100 to 300 miles, medium short haul. They're not even mentioning this new battery technology. If this was me and this was my company, I would say, yes, this is what we have right now, but just in a short while, we will have something that can make this even double. And that's another thing. They are trying to revolutionize the world, and they started out as a hydrogen truck company, and they were revolutionizing the world with this. And then all of a sudden this was delayed, so all of a sudden they also had a battery solution. This was not in the company story, the storytelling in the beginning, but now they have. But the battery solution is not, it is kind of the same as Tesla. Maybe Tesla is a bit better when you look at these numbers. But then they come out in November and saying, yes, but we have something completely new and revolutionizing. And that is not all. What they're also saying is that they will be sharing it with all their competitors. So as soon as it is ready for commercial use, then they will be sharing it with all competitors so they can put it in their trucks as well. They want to save the world. Now that is a nice move. I just don't see the battery anywhere, and I don't see it in any of this. Nothing of this mentions these batteries, and that really puzzles me, because if they have something that you have to remember that these guys here, and also the Nobel Prize winner from, I think it was 2019, they are working on something that is half as good. Now, if Nikola can pull this off with this new battery, then they are pretty much certain to get a Nobel Prize, or the researchers, the scientists will get a Nobel Prize for this, because this would simply rock the world as we know it today. All of a sudden, you could have storage capacities for wind energy, for solar energy, for everything would all of a sudden be a lot easier and a lot cheaper. And all of the wind turbines and the solar panels, all of the waste they have in energy, because they are producing energy at the wrong times and you can't really store it, all of a sudden they would be a lot more profitable, and as I said, it would change the world. The thing that puzzles me is I can't see anything about it in their investments, in their investor presentations. And when I look to other experts, because, not other experts, but look to experts, because I'm absolutely not an expert. I have to do all of my research here without really understanding any of much of the technical terms. But what I can see here is I found this hyper change with two very knowledgeable guys here, very smart guys talking about this. They know their battery stuff. They are going through it. They simply cannot make sense of the Nikola claims. And I actually think I have another one. That is the truth about hydrogen. That's a very good video. I will link below as well. That is talking about some of the problems with hydrogen, the storage, the production of it, and so on. That's also relevant for when you invest in Nikola. So just to make this short, if Nikola had found a way to put a battery into the trucks at half the cost, half the size, double the energy density, then they are pretty much low priced at this price of $72, around $25 billion in market cap. But if they don't come up with something, and what they're saying is that this fall, in November 2019, they said that they would introduce the battery in 9 months. Meaning that just after the summer holidays, somewhere in August, September, October maybe, they will be introducing this new battery. If that is true, then this could shoot up 10x, 20x, 30x. They would simply be Tesla times 50 all of a sudden. But I haven't seen anything yet, and nobody has seen anything yet. And when asked about it, they are very secretive. I understand that, of course, if they are just on the brink of revolutionizing the world, they want to make sure they're not going to spill all the details right now, but that they are going to share it with their competitors eventually. So why aren't they showing us just something? Because they are interested in this price getting as high as possible. A lot of the early investors, they would have made billions and billions if this goes up tenfold. So why not tell us just a little bit? But they haven't yet. And that leads me to the same question. Would I invest in Nikola? And no, I wouldn't. This, of course, you could day trade it, you could short-term swing trade it, and you could earn a lot of money here. But those of you that wrote me saying here after yesterday, I got a couple of emails, nice emails saying, well, you were certainly wrong there, and you said it was going to fail. This price and this development in price has nothing to do with the case of Nikola failing or not. And again, I really, really hope that they will succeed. I cross my fingers and everything I can cross that it is true that they're coming up with this battery this fall. What I can say is that I'm a bit skeptical when the largest companies in the field, when the best researchers in the world on this field simply cannot come close. But then again, we have seen before that just a small team of dedicated researchers and a thinking outside the box idea can make breakthroughs. That has definitely been seen through the history. So why not? It might be true, but that will not lead me to buy the stock, because I don't gamble with my money. And as I see it, this is a gamble. This is a gamble where you're saying, I believe what this Trevor guy is saying, and if it is true, this will go to the moon. If it is false, the company will probably collapse. Also, in producing these batteries, and as I said in the last video, all the hydrogen trucks and so on, it will take a ton of more capital and funding that they have now. So if you're buying now to be a long-term investor, just be prepared that they even have to borrow an insane amount of $1 billion, or they're going to dilute the stock, the stock value by issuing a lot, millions and millions of more stocks to sell to new investors. So no matter what, this is a tough case. Right now, it's just a hype. And as I mentioned the other day, a company with a bit of the same hype was Virgin Galactic. You can see it here. Funny enough, they also went from around 10 to up to 40. They never had this extra boost up to the 70 something. But I was in the exact same discussion there. You could also see this insane amount of volume up here. Another little thing I can show you. I've showed you that before in other videos, but this is DDD. This is the 3D printing company. And when we just scroll back here to 2014, at this point, if you weren't an investor, I can just give you a brief summary. At this point, 3D printing was promising to save the world. 3D printing would mean that no company almost would ever have to ever have a big storage of products or spare parts again. They could just have a 3D printer, and Toyota was talking about that they would simply in the future they would have no storage of spare parts at these single shops. They would just have a 3D printer and they would print all spare parts. So 3D here went from around $4 and up to $100. So that was just 2,500%. And when people realized, and this was not even the .com bubble, when people realized that yes, 3D print is the thing of the future, as with hydrogen and battery electrical vehicles is the thing of the future, but maybe the first ones to introduce it might not be the ones that will succeed, and all of a sudden just a couple of years later it was down around $5 again. I'm not saying that this will happen to Nikola. I'm just saying that I've seen it over and over and over again in my 30 plus years in the market, that people fall in love with the idea of a new technology and then automatically think that because a company comes up with this new technology, then they will automatically also be the ones making money on it. And my experience say that it isn't. Actually, I'm impressed that Tesla are starting to make money on their products, because what I would have thought, that is at least I've learned from history, is that they would come in big money liquidity trouble, and then they would be bought out by some of the other big players. So of course it is possible that Nikola can pull it through. But as an investor, as a longer term investor, and not just a hype speculator here, I would say still, Nikola is not for me. It could easily be for you, and I congratulate you if you went in down here at around 10 and now in a month you have made 600-700%. And as I said, I'm not the one to say if this can go up to 700, so you can make 1,000% more. It has just, as of right now, absolutely no base in reality and the valuation of the company. So that's about it, and thanks for those of you that commented and said, hey, you forgot the thing about the battery technology. And the reason why I didn't include that the other day was simply because I had no fact. I could see nothing other than claims. But if you do, if there's some information out there that I haven't been able to find, then please just write me and I will link to it below if there comes some new research up. And as I said, I really hope this Trevor guy is pulling it through. I would love to see the world being saved by a company like Nikola. All right, that's all for now. Thank you for your time. Take care of yourself and your money out there. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and bye for now.